Doing it. Let me just make sure the YouTube's awake here. Just got to make sure everything goes in. Oh, yeah, there. It's going. It's going. How about those apples? Yes. What's up, everybody? Guys, this is going to be the last stream. Just make sure it picks up here. Here it is. This is going to be the last stream that I'll be doing as a single guy. I'm getting married this weekend. I know you guys know that. I know I've been talking about it a lot, and I appreciate you all indulging me. But yeah, this will be my last stream as a single man. I'm getting married over the weekend. And then next week, by the way, the reason I bring that up also is because next week the show will be on hiatus. What happens is I'm getting married, then I'm getting out of town for a few days. Me and my new wife are going to be it sounds weird saying it. Sounds really weird. You know what though? I'm really excited. I'm really excited to not have to say fiance anymore. Like it's kind of an annoying word. You know what I mean? Like fiance. Like I don't know. I don't love that word. You know, I mean I use it because I get it. It's one of those things. It's like you know, you're not just boyfriend and girlfriend or partners or whatever. You're engaged. That's its own thing. I get that. I respect it. So I would say it. You know, she would say it. But I'm looking forward to not have to say that anymore. Looking forward to just being like wife. I'll be. But anyway, so getting married this weekend, then getting out of town for a little bit, and then once I get back, when I go back to work, it involves a tour in Florida, which, by the way, Florida, do not wait. Get your tickets. Orlando, March 12th. Tampa, March 13th. Miami, March 14th. That's when I'm hitting the road. So anyway, this show will be on hiatus. The show will be on hiatus for the week. No episodes next week. There will be clips coming out, but no new episodes. And I'll be announcing that again later in the stream. Guys, breaking news. Liz Warren has dropped out. Liz Warren no longer in the race. Here's what's going on so far. As of right now, she has not endorsed anybody. Here we go. Liz Warren ends her presidential campaign, holds off on endorsement. This is from the USA Today. Elizabeth Warren is ending her campaign. Warren told reporters outside her Cambridge, Massachusetts home that she would not endorse a candidate yet. Not today, she said when asked about an endorsement. I need some space around this and a little time to think a little more. Warren's departure from the Democratic primary comes after a disastrous Super Tuesday where she didn't finish above third in any state, building her streak to 19 contests that she lost. She even lost in her home state, finishing a distant third in Massachusetts. So she's not giving an endorsement right away. And, you know, you can't help but ask, well, what does she have to think about? If Liz Warren is who she says she is, what does she really have to think about? I mean, let's hear straight from her. What kind of things was Liz Warren saying on the campaign trail? Well, let's take a look, shall we?
The heart of this is two parts. We got to ask those at the top to pay a little more. I use the 2-cent wealth tax, but it's more than this. Giant corporations like Amazon and Eli Lilly and Halliburton reported billions of dollars in.
You notice how some people in the audience cheered for Halliburton? I'm sorry, like, did you notice that? Some people in her crowd, were they confused as to where they were at or what? They cheered for Halliburton. I mean, look, you know, I'm not a big Liz Warren fan. You guys know that about me. I'm not a Liz Warren fan. I certainly have a lot of disagreements with her, but I wouldn't expect her audience to cheer Halliburton. I wouldn't expect that. I'd expect that from like a George Bush event. I don't even know if I'd expect that from a Donald Trump event, quite frankly. I mean, maybe, but yeah. Anyway, all right.
Profits last year and paid zero in taxes. That is not right. We have to ask those at the top to pay a little more. That's how we have enough money for infrastructure. And the second part is what we were just talking about. We have got to be willing to pick up our regulatory tools and use them on behalf of the people. Trickle down economics, we were talking about it a minute ago. Trickle down economics, just think about it this way. From 1980 basically forward, what has been the principle? How does it work? It's helped the rich and powerful get richer and more powerful. And how do you do that? You cut taxes for those at the top. That's how they get richer. And you cut regulations. That's how they get more powerful. It is time for us in America to say trickle-down economics has been a failure. We're going to build this economy from the grassroots up, and we're going to save our democracy.
If that's how she feels, and by the way, that was from March 3rd. That was a couple days ago. That was from March 3rd. If that's how she feels, how is there any question or ambiguity who she would support in the White House? I mean, does that sound like Joe Biden to anyone? And look, I'm speaking right now, Liz Warren supporters, if you're watching this show, you know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I was a big Liz Warren fan. I know a lot of people are celebrating her on Twitter, and that's fine. That's their choice. That's their right. Whatever, you know, free speech. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I was a big fan of hers. I wasn't. I'm still not. I don't think she's been very inconsistent. Very, very inconsistent to the point where, you know, I just made the judgment call a while ago that I don't really trust this candidate. And, you know, when you really strip down politics to like its biggest, just nuts and bolts, basic essence, you know, you take a chance and put a certain amount of trust in somebody. That's what you do when you decide that you want to vote for a candidate. You put a certain amount of trust in them. And for those of you that are Liz Warren supporters, we agree to disagree on this one. You put some trust in Liz Warren. I didn't. And I'm not going to pretend that I did. And I'm not going to apologize for not. I don't trust her. I don't think she's very genuine. I don't think she's very consistent. And by the way, look at those words she just said. If she really meant those words and she's not sure who to endorse, how? It doesn't make any sense to me. But if those are the types of policies that attracted you to Liz Warren, does that sound like Joe Biden? Joe Biden, who has been completely complicit in the status quo, who has never seen a war he didn't like, who has never seen a war budget he didn't like, who has deregulated the banks and is proud of it, who wrote the crimes bill, who bragged about supporting the Patriot Act. Is that the guy who is completely disconnected from what's going on with climate change? And the last time he was on top of things was 1986. Liz Warren, in that clip, very politely said that our status quo isn't working. That's what she said. Those were her words. Well, not literally her words, but that was the message in that speech she gave. Is Joe Biden someone who's going to challenge the status quo? Now, again, I don't trust Liz Warren, and I'm not going to try to pretend that I do. But, you know, if you're a Warren supporter and you're watching this, well, you do, and that's okay. We can agree to disagree. But should there be any doubt where you should go now? I mean, you go on her own words and the policies that she would give lip service to. The obvious choice is Bernie Sanders. it's just, I mean, how is there any doubt? I mean, she's basically saying, hey, the status quo is not working. Joe Biden's big message is, let's just return to normalcy. You know what normalcy is? The status quo, where thousands of people die due to lack of health care, where the wars just continue as usual, where we're not going to do anything about the upcoming climate catastrophe, where people don't get paid living wages. And in the richest country in the world, most people don't even have $1,000 in savings. So those are Liz Warren's words. That was a speech that she gave very recently. And for some reason, there were people in the audience cheering on Halliburton. Maybe they were like, I mean, I don't know. That was weird to me. Maybe they were like, oh, she's gonna slam him, you know, like maybe they were, and it just kind of came off wrong. I don't know. Maybe it was an employee. They were just like, yeah, I'm just here doing oppositional research for Joe Biden, maybe. Because, by the way, Joe Biden just got some positive words from who? Karl Rove. We're going to get to that in a little bit. So Liz Warren, she is no longer in the race. And you know what? I'll be honest. I don't really care who Liz Warren endorses. It's just, you know, I don't really take endorsements all that seriously in general, no matter who it's from. But I really hope that, you know, and hey, I live in Los Angeles. I know a lot of Liz Warren supporters. You know, I mean, especially in show business, there was a lot of Liz Warren supporters. And I really hope that y'all will consider Bernie Sanders. Because, you know, in the policies that Liz Warren would talk about, if you believe she was genuine, clearly that is way closer to a Bernie Sanders platform than a Joe Biden platform. So, all right, Liz Warren dropping out. So speaking of Joe Biden just got his best, Joe Biden just got the best endorsement that serves as the greatest anti-endorsement for Bernie Sanders. Take a look at this. Let's look at this headline, folks. Biden might be saving the Democrats. Who wrote this? Karl Rove, the architect of the Bush administration, Karl Rove. America just witnessed 72 hours, unlike any other in the history of presidential primaries. Not presidential elections, though, because we had Florida in 2000. Let's not forget. All right. Anyway, Americans just witnessed 72 hours, unlike any other. Okay, I just read that. The miracle began Saturday. The miracle. Joe Biden winning, Karl Rove describes as a miracle. Just so you know, the fact that that is a truth in our society should disqualify Joe Biden. Joe Biden should be running as a Republican. Karl Rove calls Joe Biden winning a miracle. In fact, you know what? I'm tweeting that right now. Is a miracle. Karl Rove. Just so you know. I mean, just say Karl Rove. The miracle began Saturday in South Carolina, all right, after horrible White House, blah, 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 blah. Mr. Biden then appeared on Sunday shows to argue that Mr. Sanders' socialist views, by the way, he's a social democrat, but anyway, would drag down the entire Democratic ticket if he were to lead it. The message resonated. By Monday, Amy Klobuchar and Pete Buttigieg had withdrawn and endorsed Mr. Biden in Dallas, joined by former Representative Robert Francis O'Rourke. And you know what? It is very hard for me to find a compliment for Karl Rove. And this isn't really a compliment to Karl Rove necessarily, but I'll give a tip of the hat for referring to him as Robert Francis O'Rourke, because that's his freaking name. Anyway, then with virtually no organization on Super Tuesday, Biden won at least 9, probably 10 of 14 states. It helped that money didn't buy political love for former New York Mayor Mike Bloomberg. His spending could reach $800 million, and all that won him was American Samoa. All right. So this isn't the first time Democrats have faced an attempt by an extremist to hijack their party to transform America. While Franklin D. Roosevelt realized how radical Vice President Henry A. Wallace was, he allowed party leaders to remove the Iowan from the 1944 Democratic ticket. They replaced Wallace with a Senate backbencher named Harry S. Truman, whose views were in sync with those of Roosevelt and most Democrats. FDR didn't want that to happen. FDR did not want that to happen. And FDR enacted the policies that we still have to thank for this day. His New Deal included Social Security and weekends. And there was strong union support. And then he wanted to take it a step further and have a jobs guarantee for all Americans. That was his true vision. Because FDR saw the climate around him. FDR looked out and he saw an angry working class. And he said to his rich friends, hey, you're either going to give up some of your money or you're going to give up all of it. Make up your mind. And he would do his fireside chats where he would be like, hey, people, this is what I want to do. This is who's stopping it. This is what I want. So this is a very sanitized, inaccurate assessment of what really went down there. And FDR, by the way, the most socially progressive president, arguably, that we've ever had, and they kept reelecting him until he died. That's who FDR was. Mr. Sanders represents, this is getting back to the article, Mr. Sanders represents an existential threat to the Democratic Party. If he Corbynizes the party like Labor in Britain, it will be difficult to reverse its leftward lurch anytime soon. While that might be good for the GOP in the short run, it would be dangerous for America, which benefits from a two-party system in which both reject extremist ideologies. This is Karl Rove saying this. What is all this code for? This is Karl Rove, a guy who makes money off the war machine. What he's saying is the status quo is great for the war machine. That's what he's saying here. He's really saying Bernie Sanders is bad for the war machine because Karl Rove looks around with his other war profiteering rich friends and doesn't want anything that'll disrupt that apple cart. If Karl Rove says something is bad for the status quo in America, that is the best news. That means you should go do exactly that. Karl Rove is what's bad for America. Karl Rove has brought this country to its knees. He's the architect of the Bush administration. This is the best anti-endorsement for Bernie ever. The fact that Karl Rove is that scared of Bernie Sanders. And he loves Joe Biden. I wonder why. Maybe it's because Joe, big supporter of the Iraq War. Here's something Joe Biden had to say recently, by the way. This is who Joe Biden is. It's a powerful video, by the way. It's a very powerful video. Here, hold up.
I'm an Air Force veteran, I'm Army veteran. We're just wondering why we should vote voted for a war and kill thousands of our brothers and sisters.
So Joe Biden is being confronted by two Iraq War veterans. And the gentleman said to him, you know, why should we vote for someone who enabled this war that killed so many of our brothers and sisters? And let's watch all this unfold.
You also gave a medal to the man who enabled that war and caused that war. Your blood is on your hands. You're disqualified. You're disqualified. My friends are dead.
So is my son. For you. That doesn't matter, right? No, it doesn't matter to you. It matters a lot to you. Let me tell
I'm sure
you.
it does. I'm not going after your son.
You better know.
I'm not. No, I'm not going after your son. You're disqualified, sir. Disqualified. The blood is on your hands. Blood is on your hands. No. My brothers and sisters died in Iraq and Afghanistan. And you enabled that to happen. He enabled that to happen. He is disqualified. He is disqualified. No way he can be president. They're dead. Millions are dead in Iraq. He will not be allowed to be president. Disqualified. Trump is more anti-war than Joe.
Fucking bullshit. Fucking imperialist. We actually fought in your damn wars. We fought in your wars. You sent us to hurt civilians. We hurt civilians. You pushed us out to do it.
If I truly believed that the people in that room, with the exception, of course, of those two veterans, but everybody else in that room was representative of how this country really felt and was representative of what this country is, we deserve Trump. We deserve it. I don't believe that. I don't believe that that room was representative of what this country really is and the people who live here. Those were two veterans who confronted Joe Biden about his support for the Iraq War, a very fair confrontation. And Joe Biden just moved the goalpost and dismissed them. And while they're pleading that their friends are dead, that their brothers and sisters are dead, that they sent them over there to kill civilians in this disastrous war that should have never happened, people are trying to drown them out by chanting for the man who helped enable that war. Joe Biden's been getting it wrong for 30 plus years. And by the way, whenever he's gotten it right, it was on accident. By the way, like these people were like, oh, well, gay marriage, Joe Biden came around first. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Public opinion demanded it. The movement was too strong. So Obama was like, yeah, we got to come around on this. We got to do gay marriage. And then Joe Biden just said it on air first. That's all that happened. Joe Biden didn't push Obama anywhere. A movement pushed Obama. You can find footage of all of them, Obama, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, being against gay marriage until they couldn't be anymore. So when people give Joe Biden for that's such a misguided assessment of what actually happened. That's why Joe Biden has never gotten close in any of his runs for president. The only memorable thing from any one of his former campaigns was that he plagiarized speeches from other politicians. That's the only thing people remember. Because he stands for absolutely nothing. And he never has. And you can find footage of him saying, hey, man, I was just ready to prostitute myself. To him, that's what a politician is. That's what a politician does. You just take big checks and do the bidding of the people who gave you the big check. That's why, again, I think Pete Buttigieg was more dangerous than Joe Biden because Pete Buttigieg actually knows better. He actually knows what a politician should do. He chooses not to because that ain't easy street. Joe Biden, honestly, doesn't know. So people were like, well, at least he's smarter than Trump. Is he? Are you sure? You're comparing vomit to vomit. That's what you're doing. It's like you're assessing a pile of puke. And you're like, well, this one has a full noodle in it. The other one is just completely decomposed. And I think just mostly liquor. How about we don't pick a pile of vomit? How about we don't do that? I mean, that's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. Oh, and by the way, that's how war veterans are treated in a public space. You know, it's so amazing. You go to a sporting event and they get everyone to stand up and clap for a war veteran. Yet when war veterans have something to say, you chant over them. Or when war veterans run for president, you do everything you can to keep them off a debate stage they should be on, like Tulsi Gabbard. They're already trying to change the rules to make sure she can't be on that debate. And could you imagine a debate? Could you imagine? I mean, just for a pleasant image in your head for a second, imagine a debate where it was Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, and Tulsi Gabbard. Those three in a debate. That could single-handedly end Joe Biden's campaign. I mean, honestly, a debate like that could single-handedly end Joe Biden's campaign. And then, hey, in a perfect world, at least the way I see it, that would end Joe Biden's campaign. Bernie would announce Tulsi as his running mate. We'd get a Bernie Tulsi ticket. That'd be pretty cool. But man, who's inspired by that? Joe Biden, instead of saying something, you know what, I made a mistake on Iraq, and I promise you I'm never going to make that mistake again. And I salute you for your service. And my son was over there too, so I know the pain, I know the loss, and I salute you for your service. He didn't do that. He just moved the goalpost and then threatened the guy. He threatened, oh, you better not. You better not be. Did you hear that part? Where he said, oh, you better not be? You think you could beat that guy in push-ups, Joe? I don't think you could, pal. Would you have threatened that guy if it was just you and him alone in a room, Joe? You're a tough guy, Joe. You're a tough guy. You're real tough. And this guy, they want that guy to run against Trump. The guy who can't hold his composure in the slightest. When a Latino activist confronts him on immigration because he's scared for the people in his community, he tells that guy to just go vote for Trump. When someone asks him, hey, what are you going to do about climate change? He says, go vote for someone else. Go vote for Sanders. When a veteran confronts him about Iraq, he moves the goalpost to make it about his son. That guy was not criticizing his son or saying anything bad about his son. He moves the goalposts. And then when the guy says, hey, I'm not saying anything about your son, man. That's not what this is about. He goes, oh, you better not. Real tough, Joe, when you got a room full of people chanting against two war veterans who had to go fight in your bullshit war. This guy who melts under the smallest of scrutinies, who can't handle a debate question, who every debate has had protesters interrupt his closing statement. They're going to throw that guy against Donald Trump. Donald Trump will crush him. And the Democrats know that. You don't think the Democrats know he can't win? They do. They don't care because they'd rather lose to Trump again than actually have something that upsets the status quo, because they love the status quo. And you know who else loves the status quo? Karl Rove. And at the end of the day, we got one party. It's the money party, and the money goes to war. So there you go. There you go. Karl Rove, loving Joe Biden. Joe Biden might save the Democratic Party. That's what he means, by the way, with Democratic Party. He means that, what you just saw from Joe Biden. Look at that clip. Is that worth saving? You want to see that saved? All right. So, there you go. That video has over 1 million views. Please share it and retweet it, and let's get it 1 million more. Because I don't see how anyone could see that and think, yeah, that's a leader. How anyone could see somebody treat veterans that way and say, yeah, that's a leader. And I'm going to retweet it right now. I just retweeted it. All right. So, guys, I heard from my family in Italy, my family and friends in Italy, and I wanted to share it with you. Now, first of all, quick aside. By no means am I suggesting that we don't have anything to worry about when it comes to the coronavirus. In no means am I suggesting that. The coronavirus is real. The coronavirus is dangerous. Well, of course it's real. I mean, come on. Yeah, you know what I meant. Like the coronavirus, the danger is real. Please take caution. Please wash your hands a little bit more than usual. Please, do not mess around. And by no means, but, on the same note, it's okay to recognize that, hey, Chicken Little, the sky's not falling. You know what I mean? It's all about balance here. And so I want to share with you guys, I emailed my family in Italy, and here's, and some of my friends in Italy. I got some friends and family. And here's some of the feedback I got. Oh, yes, thanks, and your family. The virus didn't catch us. You had a sweet thought. Greet me all. A kiss to mom. Okay, English is not the first language for my family. This is my first time reading this. All right, so the virus didn't catch my cousin Felice. Virus, it was he was running and it did not catch him. Virus didn't catch us. You had a sweet thought. Greet me all. A kiss to mom. I miss you all. I hope that we see each other again. We will. Of course we will. And then here's what my other cousin said. My cousin Carmen. We are all doing well. Everybody doing well. I think the media are making bigger the things more than really is. All right, so there you have it. The media are making bigger the things more than really is, which, and in fairness, when I first saw that message from him, I was like, man, I wouldn't be able to express an ideal that good in Italian. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be able to express that in Italian that well. But then I realized he probably used Google Translate. Like, I was like, I don't feel as bad now. He probably used Google Translate for that one. Do you speak Italian? Sì, parlo italiano un po'. Ho bisogno di praticarlo di più. I need to practice more. I always look for like a speaking buddy, to help out. I never really find one. So, but that's something I got to do. So, and then here's something from my friend Eric, who is, he lives in Italy, but he is American. So this will be in fluent English, if you will. But he goes, I actually work close to the red zone, but the folks here are taking good precautions and staying in when needed. Down in Lucca, the family is doing fine. The government decided to close all schools until March 15th, though. So, I got a couple different reports from a couple different regions. And, things are going okay. Does that mean that everything's completely fine in Italy? Of course not. Of course not. And this is just a testimony from, 3 people, so I'm not, my reason for bringing this up, I thought it was fun to share with you guys. And, I think as you go about this stuff and you navigate it, it's important to note that, yes, precautions are necessary, that, yes, this is a big deal, that, yes, the coronavirus is deadlier than the flu, and it should be taken seriously. But on the same note, the sky is not falling. Keep it in perspective, kind of read between the lines, kind of, proceed with caution, but also pay attention to the world around you. And, of course, the media, they have a tendency to overhype some things. So there you go. So last thing I wanted to do, since this is our last episode for a little while, I wanted to go through a little bit of mail I've gotten. I went to my P.O. box recently. So I wanted to give a shout out to some of the mail that I've received recently. First of all, Trendy as Dabbers. I have been enjoying the oil very much. And I told you, I know it took me a while to get the box. There was a little bit of confusion there. And but I did deliver it to the Jimmy Dore Show studio like I promised you I would. I promised you that the next time I go to the studio, I will deliver it. And I did. I was at the studio yesterday. I totally delivered it. I'm going to let them get their stuff out first, and then I'll get mine. Thank you again for that very, very much. I am very honored and flattered that you thought of me and thought everyone in the Jimmy Dore Show as well. And I have been enjoying the oil. I mentioned to you that I've been using it on my neck. I've talked about this on the show before, but as some of you may remember, in 2013, I was in a pretty bad car accident. And yeah, my car was totaled. I got sideswiped by a truck. And I'll be honest, I did not take all the necessary steps after that I should have. I probably should have went to see like a physical therapist. I didn't. My logic was, first of all, at the time, I did not have very good health insurance, and I did not have very much money at all. I was pretty much living paycheck to paycheck. I was a road comic, just sort of living on the road, hand to mouth. But so I didn't really do much. I mean, I did go get a basic checkup just at like an emergency center or whatever, or like a meta center, whatever those things are called. And basically my ribs were kind of bruised, and the doctor was like, we can't really do anything for ribs anyway, dude. And I was like, all right. And that was it. And my neck was a little, so anyway, ever since then, I get the same pain in my neck whenever I do basically any type of physical activity. Whenever I go to the gym, whenever I do whatever it is I do in my day. And I don't know if it will ever fully go away. Like it might just be one of those things. I may never totally extinguish it. But I will say that the pain oil that you sent has helped it more than anything else ever has. It's really made it so much more manageable. So again, thank you very much. Thank you. And so next thing, I'll get to this. This is from Frank, who is a PhD. Congratulations, Frank. Dear Ron, I want to first thank you for being such a strong and intelligent voice in advancing the progressive movement. I admire your ability to weave humor with astute and critical analysis of the range of political and social issues that beset us at this dark time. I follow you on YouTube and on the Jimmy Dore Show. I particularly appreciate the work you are doing to expose the toxic impact of neoliberalism. I'm writing to you because I've written a book that examines the role of neoliberalism in perpetuating multiple forms of oppression. Cool. So here, let me see. What's the book? Oh, so here's the book, Embracing Disillusionment. And that was written by Frank Gruba McAllister. Thank you very much for that, Frank. I appreciate you thinking of me. I appreciate you turning me on to your work. And I wish you all the best. And thank you for the kind words about the show. Where do you profess at? And yeah, thank you very much for thinking about me. And here is another thing. Requesting your help to elect Bernie. Dear Ron, the most important thing we can do is elect Bernie by far. The most important thing we can do to elect Bernie by far is to urge our friends, neighbors, and most importantly, your viewers to make sure they register as a Democrat in closed and semi-closed states like California. California 2016 would have been in play if the vast number of NPP voters had previously switched the registration to Democrat. Bernie would have also won New York's closed primary had independents done the same. Well, hey, I mean, here on this show, we talked a lot about what NPP voters needed to do to get a ballot in California. They need to request a Democratic crossover ballot. And we did talk a lot about those issues. We covered Greg Pallas's work very extensively. And, you're right. And, I appreciate you pointing that out. Primary voting deadlines are approaching fast. Do you mind broadcasting this critical advice with your audience? Well, I feel like I certainly did. So I hope, obviously this letter is from the past. But yeah, the Democratic Party will try to lower voter turnout. Absolutely. And the legitimacy of each vote cast. Allowing a person's vote to count from the beginning is therefore imperative. All right. And that is from Mark Keister. Thank you very much, Mark. Mark also goes on to say, it was great seeing you and Graham down here in Gainesville, Florida. I love Gainesville. Gainesville is one of my favorite towns. We're not hitting Gainesville this time around. Our next Florida tour is Orlando, Tampa, and Miami. Mark, I hope to see you at one of the shows. I'm spending all my energy to get Bernie elected, and I can use your help. Thank you very much, Mark. And if there's anything else I can do to help, please let me know. I've definitely done my best on this show to cover issues of, of election integrity and issues of what voters need to do, what they should do if they're handed a provisional ballot, what they need to do if they're an NPP voter. You can get a Democratic crossover ballot. We talked about that a lot. Bernie did do well in California, so hopefully some of that worked. hopefully some NPP voters got Democratic crossover ballots and were able to cast their vote for president. Thank you very much for that. So Mark and Frank and Trendy, thank you guys very much. I appreciate it very much. And Mares, thank you very much for the t-shirt and the whiskey. I appreciate that very much too. I know I mentioned it on Political Vigilante, but I want to mention it here too. Graham did give me the gift that you sent. Thank you very much for the t-shirt and the whiskey. I haven't enjoyed it yet, but I might enjoy it this week for my wedding. All right, guys. So let me see what y'all are saying. And then we're going to go ahead and dismount. And I'm going to go do a bunch of wedding stuff. That is what I'm doing after this. A bunch of wedding stuff. And I'm excited, a little nervous, mostly excited. Got to make sure I get everything done. And guys, first of all, I'll mention tour dates. I got them. Florida, don't wait. Get your tickets now. March 12th, Orlando, Florida. March 13th, Tampa, Florida. March 14th, Miami, Florida. That's when I get back into the swing, y'all. This show is going to be on hiatus next week. I get back in the swing by going on tour in Florida. Come say hello. I'll be married. It'll be weird. You'd be like, hey, it's Married Ron. What's up, Married Ron? And I'll be like, yeah, still the same guy. Still the same guy. I don't say fiance anymore. That's the big change. That's the big change. All right. Let's see here. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Oh, yeah. And other tour dates. April 10th, I'll be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. April 24th, Seattle, Washington. April 25th, Portland, Oregon. And we got dates all through 2020. Go to ronplacone.com for all those tickets. We're coming to Indianapolis, Detroit. We're coming to Cleveland. We're coming to Louisville, Nashville, Atlanta. Hold tight, tickets are coming. Richmond, Virginia, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, Boston, Mass, Portland, Maine, Burlington, Vermont, Madison, Wisconsin, Minneapolis. Don't wait. Grab your tickets. Boom. And if you want to support the show on the sustainability end, please do consider becoming a patron. Patreon.com/RonPlacone. For a give what you can level, you get all kinds of exclusive content, including my album, and you help me expand the show. I want to start making mini documentaries around city-owned internet. I want to continue my Sounds of Revolution interview series where I interview musicians and activists and other creative types about what they want to see in 2020. I need your help to get there. Even $1 a month goes a long way. You get a patrons only stream once a week where I respond directly to patrons. It's a lot of fun. Give what you can level. Even $1 a month goes a long way. Patreon.com/RonPlacone. Mo Mooney, what's up? Even though my invitation must have been lost in the mail, I'd still like to send a small wedding present. Thank you very much, Mo Mooney. That's very kind of you. Hope you both have a long, happy life together and more smiles than you can stand. Thank you very much, Mo Mooney. I appreciate that. Bad fella, it's sad. More burners trusted Warren than Tulsi. I don't know. Is that the case? I mean, that bums me out if that's the case too. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's for sure the case. I mean, maybe it is just because numerically, I think a lot of people, there's still a lot of people that aren't really aware of Tulsi. I mean, that's just the reality. Like a lot of people still aren't really aware of. I mean, they got her off that debate stage as quickly as they could. So I think a lot of people just still aren't fully aware of her. So maybe that's part of it. All right, Phil C. Ron, we all know that you're getting married, so I'd like to thank you for finding the time to talk to us on Super Thursday. Love it. Thank you so much. Kate, Roman tourist industry people have no money. Support. I feel you, Kate. I feel you. Italy will bounce back. I really do believe that. Italy will definitely bounce back. And thank you for that, Kate. I appreciate that very much. And Tisha, let me get to yours. YouTube does this thing where they just clip the last comment. It's so freaking annoying. Tisha, there you are. The Biden supporters just don't want fundamental change because, quote, they got theirs. That's all. For them, that's what he stands for. It's sad. It's not worth it. I could so much better. We could do so much better. We can do so much better. We can do better with Bernie Sanders. And you're right, Tisha. The Biden supporters, they just want the status quo. And guess who one of them is? Karl Rove. Scream that from the rooftops, folks. Karl Rove is celebrating Joe Biden, describes Joe Biden's victories as a miracle. Karl Rove, the architect of the Bush administration, the most dangerous administration, arguably in the history of American politics. And you know what? I know it's a cliche, but it's a cliche because it's true. If we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it. Let's not repeat it. Let's leave George W. Bush in the frickin' past. All right. Thank you guys so much for being part of this. The show will be on a brief hiatus next week. I'll be hitting the road in Florida, and I can't wait to see you guys out in Florida. I'll see you in Orlando. I'll see you in Tampa. I'll see you in Miami. Don't wait. Get your tickets, ronplacone.com. And this show will be back the following week. Not next week, but the following week. And I look forward to seeing you all again. I will miss you in the meantime. There will still be videos on this channel, and the podcast will still be dropping. So keep a lookout for that. And in the meantime, stay safe out there. And you know the drill. Lucy says meow. I say peace. Peace.